It's a new year, and I'm going to try something new for this new year that we'll get to reflect on next year. No skit today, and that's just because I'm tired. It's like, what, 8:40-ish or something at night? I need some time to finish filming this video, and then I have to edit all of these videos. I've been on a filming spree throughout the entirety of January 1st. In this video, I'm going to attempt to make some predictions as of what Apple might do throughout 2024, and we'll see where this goes. And let's see how some of these age. All right, let's cue that intro. So, first thing I'm going to start off is I'm going to go in Apple event order, things throughout the year, because I think it just makes the most sense. We're going to start off with a potential March event, and I do believe that we are actually going to get a March event this year. And here's some things that I think would be announced at the March event. Number one, we're going to get a new color for the regular series iPhone, potentially the Pro series, but then again, only the 13 series got a new color for the Pro series. 14 series didn't, so not so sure about if we're going to get a new color option for the Pro series, but typically every single year at around March we get a new color option for the regular series. So we'll get a new color option for the 15 and 15 plus. Product red maybe? I don't know. We didn't get a product red last year for the 15, so maybe a product red. I'm hoping at least. We also might potentially have an iPhone SE refresh, and actually not just a simple, oh, swap out the processor from the old one and put in a new one. Yeah, I don't think we're exactly going to get that. This year, I think we might actually get a fully redesigned iPhone SE, most likely in the form factor of the 12 or 13 series, something like that. The 6.1 inch form factor, because that's what's been mass produced. Apple has stopped the mini series, and I kind of wish they would bring it back. Like, just imagine, the new iPhone SE was in the same form factor as the 13 mini, but the likelihood of them doing that is extremely slim. Typically, Apple has announced an iPhone SE right around March, usually, so I would think that we're going to get this SE around a March event as well, and that pretty much covers it for iPhones and March at least. Other things that I expect to come out in March, we are seriously overdue on iPads. In fact, I kid you not, we did not get a single new iPad throughout the entirety of 2023. No new budget iPad, no new iPad mini, no new iPad Air, or iPad Pro. We have not gotten a single new iPad in 2023. Goes to show how much Apple truly cares about the iPad line. I mean, I've been crapping on them for their terrible software for how many years now? And yeah, I guess Apple clearly doesn't care about the lineup that much, considering they didn't even refresh it last year. So we are definitely way overdue for an iPad refresh, and I would expect one to come at least in March, because seriously, they're well overdue. I'm not entirely sure which iPads, because again, all iPads are at least over a year old at this point, and they're all overdue. So what would Apple refresh first? I don't know. Potentially iPad Pro, because now M3 is out, and well, the iPad Pro has to have the most powerful base model chip available in a Mac or something like that, despite that the software doesn't even do anything to take advantage of it. So that's potential. Also might potentially get a new iPad mini as well, because the last iPad mini came out when the iPhone 13 series was announced back in 2021, and it's a few years old at this point, so I think it's a little overdue for a refresh at this point. iPad Air, maybe, potentially, but I don't think we get a new iPad Air this year, because Apple typically doesn't release a new mini and Air at the same time. They usually alternate years. At least that's what I've noticed for the past couple of years. I wouldn't expect a new iPad Air if the mini is more overdue. I could be wrong on this, and we'll find out next year. And then budget iPad? Maybe. I don't know. Actually, I genuinely don't know if we get a new budget iPad, but maybe. And then probably the biggest thing that will come out at this March event is Apple Vision Pro. I know that there are so many leaks and rumors out there that point that Apple Vision Pro is literally right around the corner. It could even be announced this month. Except I'm really hoping that Apple releases this product at an event, because unlike all of their other products where it's basically straightforward and very easy to figure out how to use, this is a product for the most part humanity has not really seen all that much, and because of that, we're not entirely sure how to use this thing. And my biggest problem with Vision Pro is the the fact that it's a new technology that we don't know why it's more useful than the technology we currently have today. We know that our smartphones can do so freaking much. Even smartphones from 2018. This is an iPhone XS Max from 2018, and this is still my daily driver. Our smartphones can do a lot. So the thing that I'm trying to figure out at least is, why is Vision Pro better? What does it do better than the current technology that we have today? I haven't found anything that it does better. Legit nothing. And sure, it can do a couple things that our current today's technology cannot do, but I don't necessarily think they are game changers that we'd all care about, like three-dimensional video. You tried that with 3D TVs. You think that would take off? And there's also some of us, like yours truly, who can't see 3D anyways, so I don't expect that feature to take off, and I just don't know why Vision Pro is going to make that big of a difference in today's society. So that is why I want Apple to release it at an actual event. That's where I want it launched, because I want the product talked about. I want to know why this product matters and why it's better than our current day technology, especially considering that this product is going to cost $3,500, and that's without getting prescription lenses so you can actually see it. If I were to get the Vision Pro, I'd have to pay more money so that way I can actually read what's on the screen. So yeah, that is where I think Vision Pro is going to be announced, because Apple usually likes to stuff everything as much as possible into one event and not breaking it up into separate events. But again, I could be wrong in this. Maybe it's so big to the point where Apple needs an actual dedicated event only to Vision Pro and nothing else. So who knows? They could do that in January or February, but I would more likely predict it would be at a March event, knowing that Apple typically doesn't like to do that many events in the springtime at least. All right, moving on to WWDC, the software event. What are some things that I expect to come from that? Obviously iOS 18, iPadOS 18, macOS 15 will come out as well. We'll get watchOS 11, tvOS 18? I don't know what number we're on. I don't have an Apple TV, so I don't know. I have no idea as of what we'll get software feature-wise, because that is something that Apple usually does a good job at keeping secret. That, and also there's not really that much that's wrong with today's version of iOS, and I guess I can't say the same for iPadOS. That needs a lot of work. Speaking of which, I am going to make this one prediction for iPadOS. It's going to be depressing. It's going to be disappointing, because Apple clearly doesn't care about that platform. This is something that I want to be wrong on, and I'm just setting myself up for disappointment if I say they're finally going to fix iPadOS. Everyone thought that they were finally going to fix it with Final Cut and Logic when those two software items came out last year, and it did not. It is still just as unprofessional of a device as, I don't know, there's not a lot I can compare it to be honest, but it's still not good. And as of what they'll release software-wise, I genuinely have no clue. We're just going to get new software during WWDC, and I'm probably going to be surprised and blown away at what Apple has for basically every single platform except for iPadOS, because they're just that bad at updating iPadOS and fixing it. Will we get some hardware? I don't know, because the Mac hardware lineup, at least as of right now, is doing pretty strong. We may potentially get a new MacBook Air during that time, both 13 and 15 inch, hopefully at least, as well as that might also be the grand reveal of M3 Ultra, because, well, typically that's where a lot of Pro hardware is announced, is during WWDC. Well, I suppose that could also be announced during the March event. They're probably better off just announcing it at WWDC. I wouldn't put too big of an emphasis on hardware at the event, because Apple has done a lot in terms of announcing hardware as of the past few WWDCs, and typically it's not WWDC's emphasis. It's all typically on software and focusing on the developer. The reason why we got a lot of those hardware announcements, such as Vision Pro and, okay, we finally got the Mac Pro, so a new platform, yay! Guess it sort of made sense, but not much. Yeah, it made sense for the developers to learn about this at that event, but I don't think we're going to see that much in terms of hardware for WWDC this year. Moving on to September, we're likely going to get iPhone 16, iPhone 16 Plus, iPhone 16 Pro, and 16 Pro Max. Again, a lot of people are speculating we're going to get iPhone Ultra, which would be a better name than Pro Max, but Apple's marketing department sucks, so what else can I expect? So yeah, we're going to get the new 16 series. What are they going to improve upon? Hopefully the design. I hear that they're in the process of changing the design again. They're going to move the diagonal cameras on the regular series back to vertical instead of at a slanted angle. And the biggest thing that I know I want this, but they're probably not going to do it because it's what I want. I want them to reattach the two separate camera lenses together to actually clean up the design of the back. Are they going to do this? No, they're likely not going to, because screw me. But at least cleaning the design up would be a good move, and I hope that's what they're going to do. As of the Pro series, I have no idea what they're going to do with the camera bump. To our surprise, they actually shrunk it with the 15 series compared to the 14 series. Yes, I kid you not. The camera bump of the 15 series is actually smaller than the 14 series. Are they going to shrink it again? I've got no clue, considering that Apple is always trying to stuff as much camera hardware as possible in there. After they learned that basically you can't stick with 12 megapixel cameras for the entire time. We also may potentially get new iPads at this event too, because typically that's what's usually happened at a September event. We start off with either iPad or Apple Watch, then we go to iPad or Apple Watch, depending on their order, and then we go to iPhone. That's typically the order of an Apple event. So we might also see the new budget iPad there, because to me it doesn't really make that much sense to announce at the March event, because Apple typically doesn't announce a new iPad at March events. They typically do it at September events, sometimes October. So we might see a new iPad of some sort at the September event. We'll also get Apple Watch Series 10 and Apple Watch Ultra 3, because again, the September event, Apple always typically releases an Apple Watch there. They haven't failed to do that so far. And then yeah, with the 16 series. One rumor that I know is kind of expected to be with the 16 series, the display sizes are going to increase, which is a positive for me, because you know me, when it comes to screen real estate, you go big or you go home, you never settle in that regard. And yeah, so far that's, I guess it's a good thing in my eyes that the screen real estate is going to increase. Other than that, I've got no clue about what else. I mean, are we going to get an October event with more Macs? Maybe, but I'm not entirely sure, because we do still have some M2 Macs that could be updated to M3, like the Mac Mini per se. It could come out in an October event, but Apple doesn't always do an October and November event, so they could potentially skip out on those for this year. In my opinion, it'd be kind of too soon to release more Macs with M4 and such, but that's just my opinions, and I'm just guessing at this point. And those are pretty much my predictions throughout the year. They are vague, I understand that. I'm trying to think with reason of what Apple's going to do, and who knows, there could be a huge wild card that I'm just not completely aware of. Oh, and by the end of this year, all of Apple's accessories and all of their products need to have a Type-C port if they're going to have a charging port, which means the Magic accessories need to have USB-C. And one of these events, they're finally going to update the Magic accessories because they need to have Type-C. Otherwise, how are you supposed to use an iMac in Europe then? Alright, so these are my predictions throughout 2024. Let's see how terribly these age next year. And yeah, that's it. Thank you for watching. Do me a favor and interact with the stuff below. My name is DeWolf, Random Alpha, signing out.